Hello. And I like this effect because always in movies, particularly this is Steven Spielberg's magic touch. He gets the camera in slowly and brings it in. Either the moving camera or the moving object, one of the two. All right. Have planned a Remembrance Day 2024 celebration. I shared this with you, I think 2 nights ago. And but uh, uh, gave you two poetry readings of my own original poems. I researched both of them. Um, the I have a special menu planned as well. As I had said, the allied countries and the countries conquered in the Western world. Um, for another time, I thought all Imperial Britain's conquest, all the countries menu, there would be a lot of African countries, India, of course, and all of those menu, and then America waging war with all the countries. South America would come in, of course, the Middle East, and all those. But that's another time for another time. And I've issued invitations to the prime minister and maybe one person from the prime minister's office. And if, as I said, if the Democrats were to win, President Biden and one person from the White House president's office, so that would be four, the Mayor Cho, and then Premier four, six, and of course our MP Virani, who is the Minister of Justice, and also the Attorney General. I'm not sure if he's still the Attorney General, but he's a lawyer though. He and then maybe and then of course I said Minister Sajjan, who was the Minister of Defense and is the Minister of Emergency Preparedness for Canada, and he fought in Afghanistan as a colonel who was quite high, a lieutenant colonel who was quite. I have no idea in the hierarchy, army hierarchy, but he was pretty high up, and I think I. In one of my presentations, I showed a picture of him on all the wars fought by Canada and America. Uh, and in that, I showed a picture of Minister Sajjan, who was a lieutenant colonel then, and he was in all army gear, of course. And this was a winning mission then. But Canada, it was before 2014. Canada pulled out of Afghanistan in 2014. And until President Biden pulled out the American troops, they fought so hard for the Taliban to go away. The nightmare still exists in Afghanistan, but sometimes you cannot combat it. That's the sad part, you see. But maybe slowly they could themselves realize that this is the wrong way. Education should be given to uh, all women, all young girls, and boys must not be raised bigoted, so fanatically Muslim or fanatically Muslim, and that might be good, along with the um, mainstream population, and so maybe they will themselves realize the values that exist in liberalism, etc., and change their ways. Let us hope so they could transform from to good from what we think is evil. Denying education to young girls is evil. I think. I mean, there will be, but you never know what other people think. All right. So the he was there in the picture, Minister Sajjan, Harshit Sajjan, and he would tell it how he I thought he could. I would arrange. I said all this. I shared all this. The street opening out far and wide to the other side. My television screen from the plug point in our home, and animation clips. I have even asked Disney, the CEO of Disney Pixar. It's also pure economics. All right, I've given her $50 donation to a charity, the Pierre Elliott Trudeau Foundation, and shown proof of that. Although my credit card transactions at this time are a little slow in actually happening, and but they do once I give them a monthly. My husband pays monthly fee. Sorry, it's a little bit of a long introduction, but the poem is not so long, and it's And then he would benefit on you making an animation film on war on the wars along the lines of my poem, and along the lines of the second poem also, the Pearl Harbor bombing and that sort of thing by the Japanese. It would simply be very good. I mean, animation wise, and some soldiers, you would have to weave a story, a short story, or somebody could talk in the background. It could all be animation. It's it's going to be popular among people. So it's not all a favor, but it would be a favor to me to make it at this time, right? I mean, it would have to be in a hurry, because November 14th, I thought, is the day. 12th, they would be visiting graves of soldiers, all these leaders, and it would not be the right time. So we'll see and how things go. Nobody has said yes. They all say Prime Minister Trudeau comes, then, as I'm told, then they would come. So only all those people for the select menu. But for all the others outside, I'm going to arrange for Tim Hortons smiley cookies. Yeah, yeah. And I have to pray, as I said, to the winter god, to the autumn god, give me a beautiful day, sunny, and this blue skies, and that would be nice. Maybe a wink from the sun here and there, blazing sun, no power at this time of the year, no power. Sun's going to say, well, but it's okay. November is okay. And the menu, I'll quickly go through the menu and get down to the poem. All right, just bear with me. The menu is completely, I always have an Indian dish, Canada or North Indian. But this time, no Indian dish, because India was not a part. Although the East Indians fought on the side of the British in World War II, but they were not. So it would be, Canadian dishes would be a Canadian munchie. I would be baking it, Canadian um, rice dish, and an arm tanker cake, devil's foot cake, and the wheels would be Oreo cookies, and the belt which comes on the wheels or for an arm tanker would be a ribbon dipped in chocolate. It has to be somber color. It has to be all brown, or I don't know, butter cake, vanilla cake with all with gray coloring, something of that sort. But it's hard. Gray. How would it bake? Would it bake gray? I'm not sure. It's best to settle for chocolate. So that would be my battleship cake, and the guns would be. You keep guessing. There are a lot of wafers out there. All right, see, I gave the truth, the whole game away. It's gonna be a piece of cake, two layers, one more layer, and you have all baking at the same time anyway. So it's a piece of cake now for all of you baking this cake, and so that would be all Canadian. All right, because the recipe for devil's food cake, but it's an invention from America. As I said, Duncan Hines cake mix. As soon as I came to Phoenix, there was a devil's food cake, but I have a special icing on it. All right, that's mine. But the recipe comes from Rosalind Chan, and I'm not showing you the book again. All right, because the recipe book is very nicely priced, and it's going to be a popular thing amongst the entire world population, actually. So that, and then I would have Czech strudel, Polish poppy seed strudel cake, the similar, and Romanian diplomat cake roll, and those were the card. Dutch, I would have the bread, and Swiss ratatouille. The Swiss were neutral, gave refuge to so many persecuted Jews, maybe, and not to mention the Swiss bank where all the money went in, the savings of the Jews, and other people, no, they're not wanting the horrors of war may have gone to Switzerland. So Swiss ratatouille, and then British. I have a sandwich, which comes from a Victoria Classics magazine. All right, so that's British, and then either caprese or pasta. The caprese sandwich, Italian, well, fascist Italy, and had conquered. I think fascist Italy had conquered Romania. Germany did not, and then these. And then what else? What else? Dutch came in, Swiss came in, Romania came in, American Cajun style fries, easiest to make. Comes out of a packet and I flavor it with Cajun spice and other secret spices. And I'm not telling. And then, see, Americans make it sure. uh-huh. Uh, and then I have what else? France, a nice chocolate. I thought with the Resistance. I have nice chocolate. I will be looking up nice small mini chocolates, and um, what else? French. That would be the French thing, and then I think that is it. Am I missing out anybody? British, French, American, Canadian came in. Russia, because Stalin vanquished Hitler and the Nazis. Pavlova comes out of a ready to make box. So, Pavlova. So, I can cook with this, can't I? But I have to guard my food. There are these forces out there in the form of people who give tips, valuable tips, but who kind of do magic tricks. Houdini, um, aka other people. All right, they could but the person is not actually the aggressor all the time. There are other forces. There are good witches, bad witches, grinches who steal Christmas and all nice celebrations. You know so don't be a Grinch, please. All right, don't be a Grinch. All right. And so I'm scared. I'll be guarding, and and then when they come in, I serve, and then I eat. I'm going to be the sparkling hostess, because I can, it's going to be weighing heavily on my mind, this whole gathering. But I'm going to have fun. Yeah, yeah, for fun. All these special people coming in, and of course the CBC crew, CBC director, and CBC crew, and then Prime Minister Trudeau may come with some people, a couple of people. So together, 15, 16 people. I would have food. All right, those and the smiley cookies for all of them outside. All right, come listen to the speeches. There will be quite a few of them, and maybe I thought the children could do in Flanders Fields. That'd be nice, neighborhood children. So we'll see how things go. Nobody has said yes yet. Remember, I planned this whole gathering for the festival, the Hindu festival, Hindu Smartha festival, Bring Namamasya, where we worship Shiva Shiva, and tie ribbons, pretty satin ribbons with corsages on our wrists, but which is a Canadian version, of course. But I never heard. There were three of them were out of town, and it didn't even take off. But please, all of you, get back to me actually in my mailbox. And here is my invitation. My invitation for a Remembrance Day 2024 celebration, Gayatri B. Sitaram. The war rages on, a little less violent in war ridden eastern Ukraine, with the Russian forces suffering a few setbacks because of the Ukrainian army's courage. There is the Israeli Palestinian conflict, which was fought at full blast, literally, until the Israeli forces got at the core of the Hamas and Hezbollah terrorist organizations. There are civilian Palestinian men and women and children who wonder in vain as to why there is so much of hatred. As do the fair Israelis who wish to live in peace side by side with the Palestinians. I go back in time to the Great War, also called World War One and the World War Two, in both of which Canada fought to preserve lives and promote peace and goodwill. And if there were lessons to be learned from the hardships the soldiers faced, it came in the form of improved defense forces and training for the Army, Navy, and Air Force, and continued diplomacy and signed peace treaties and political agreements. For both Canada on a smaller scale and America, there came wars in Korea and Vietnam and Afghanistan and Iraq twice for America alone, some of which came with victories hard fought for, and some with a feeling of regret that so much of courage and fight in the face of the enemy forces led to a desolate feeling of themselves emerging as nameless heroes with no sense of definite victory. To all of you, I dedicate this planned celebration, and if John McCrae said in his poem In Flanders Fields, I'm only including an excerpt, we are the dead, short days ago. We lived, felt dawn, saw sunset low, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Fields. I say these are the living who saw unimaginable horrors and experienced death and destruction and survived the dangers of war to tell their tale of heroism and bravery, and loved and respected RU soldiers, Navy men, and fighter pilots for your sense of right and wrong, and for setting an example of patriotism, but more so for striving to protect the triumph of good over evil. This is my poem, and I have also, as a afterthought, asked the Lieutenant Colonel, the president of the Royal Canadian Military Institute, who gave me two links, but said that otherwise I would have really worked very hard looking up East Indian soldiers who fought for Canada. He said there's not for World War II. There's no record. They all fought for the British. Soon after, 2 years after the World War II ended, came the Indian independence, so I think I owe it to him to have him over, if he would come, of course. I've even tried to see if I can arrange a couple of interviews, for, well, to be on my YouTube, to be published on my YouTube web page, provided I have the right camera. I think I would. We could sit here somewhere here, or I would be going, of course. I'd be going to the Royal Canadian Military Institute. You need an appointment. You can see the museum and the. I think look at the library, and I would be talking to people with prepared questions. I have a couple of books, and I have to work hard. Really, questions. I mean, there's so much out there. So a couple of soldiers who fought in Afghanistan, I myself would interview. All right, signing off. Thank you, guys.